Okay, beginner tips. Honestly, my first tip is look up Saraster on YouTube. What's really cool is that he just started a run of the new Lord of the Rings game. He's doing that with the Vallejo starter set. So he's only using the colors from the Vallejo starter set, so he's just using like flat red, flat blue, stuff like that. So that's a good set to get. Citadel's a little bit more expensive than Vallejo. I like Citadel more, but honestly that's preference. You can kind of learn with any paint, and Vallejo is a little bit cheaper. Like the reasons I don't like it, it won't matter if you're beginning. It's like slightly glossier. I don't like some of the way some of the paint's thin and stuff like that. They're still great paints, that's why I still have them. Get red, yellow, blue, and then get, you know, green, orange, purple, get a black and a white, and then you probably want like a good brown. And depending on what you're coloring, you're probably gonna want a metal. In which case, after that, I would go Citadel, just get Citadel lead Belcher. That's one of my favorite paints. Get this bad boy. You can't even read it anymore because it's got so many fingerprints on it. This is like the best metal. It's a dark kind of silver, so it works great. I mean, if you're painting miniatures, there's a good chance you're painting a gun or a sword, so you'll probably want metal. You're going to want one of these. Instead of cleaning them, just buy more of them. Because it's a paint in the butt to clean. This is pretty easy to tear off, so you'll get a screwdriver and just like scrape all the paint off, and then it's usable. But also, like, you get 10 of these for like $4, so it's like, you know. Well, I haven't thrown these away, so like technically this isn't waste yet. This is still good. I have not thrown any of these away. I've not thrown away any plastic. In fact, this is proof that I've not thrown any of these away. There'll definitely be painters that tell you just start with a wet palette right away, because whatever you start with, you're gonna be more comfortable with, and pretty much people say that this is the best thing to use. Honestly, I use it only when I'm really serious about like what I'm painting. I would say 80% of the time I still just grab a plastic palette because it's just so much easier to use for me. But then again, that's because I learned on that. So maybe learn on this. You don't have to buy one, you can make it yourself. It is water, a sponge to keep it wet, and then parchment paper on top of the water. Acrylics dry really quickly, so you can actually you can just mix on that, keep your paint on that, and you could actually like close it and come back and paint 3 days later and the paint's still wet. It's also nice because you can paint without worrying about drying and everything, and then also it's easy to blend on this and stuff. You'll just need something to hold water in to wash your transfer brush or your mixing brush, because this water is gonna get gross and nasty. And then you want a nice pot of water for the brush you're actually painting with, and that's just to keep it moist so that the paint doesn't dry on your nice brush. And then most importantly, you're going to need brushes. Good brushes do matter. When you're starting, you're going to ruin your brushes. So don't start by spending $30 on a single brush from Winston Newton or something. It is a much better brush. It will greatly improve your painting, but you will also be guaranteed to ruin it. I ruined 2 of them even like being pretty good at painting. So learn to take care of your brushes first. Better just to go cheap. And don't buy Citadel brushes. Citadel brushes are essentially as expensive as Winston Newton, but they're not very good. They are synthetic brushes, and they fall apart really quickly. You essentially want a size 1 and a size 0 and maybe a size 2. And find something that's cheap enough that you know you'll probably ruin it in a couple weeks. And you'll probably want to buy a couple of them. So just, you know, find something that's pretty cheap. I'll tell you what you also need. You can get the whole messy house. Even with your cheap brushes, buy this because you'll practice with your cheap brushes how to take care of your brushes. This shit is necessary. This is the holy grail. This is gold. The Master's Brush Cleaner and Preserver. It's a conditioner to take care of your brushes. You just need it. Forgot one of the few things you'll want, especially as a beginner painter, is a dry brush, because it's a super easy technique that looks really, really good, and it's a beginner technique that you should use all the time. I buy the cheapest ones possible because I'm very bad at taking care of them, so they all end up terrible after a while. But it's just a flat brush that you use just to dry brush, which is a technique that you can look up, but it's very simple, so you'll want a dry brush. Let's say you're like, whatever, Matt, I got disposable income. I'm a freaking pro day one. I don't ruin brushes. Give me the good shit. I want the good shit right away. Okay, if you want the good shit right away, there's really there's more than 2 answers, but there's 2 answers for me, which is Winston Newton Series 7 is the go-to brush. It's expensive, it'll be about $20. They're so good that I forgot I had this one because I've been experimenting with other brushes and it's been like laying around. I found it, I was like, wait a second, is this a Series 7? That's still pretty good. I like licked the tip and then used it. I was like, oh yeah, this is the best brush I have. I don't know why I haven't been using it, it's just perfect. It's about $26 for a brush. So again, pretty pricey for a single brush. If you get good enough, kind of one brush is all you need, because at the end of the day, a point's a point. So if the brush keeps its point, A 1 will kind of be the same size as a 0-0, and it just holds more paint in it. It's like, as long as that tip stays good, it's good. Okay, so Matt's tips for taking care of your brush. Here's what you gotta do. So this is, let me make sure I got the term right. Paintbrush parts. The way you ruin your brushes is that the paint's gonna get sucked up the brush like a sponge. You don't want it to go past a certain point, because if it goes into the furrow or into the crimp, that's where there's glue that's holding the bristles together. And water is so much, you dry it upside down or dry it like this, but paint will start eroding the glue, and that's how the bristles start getting lost, and there's nothing you can really do. It's ruined. So the bristles will start spreading and you'll lose your point, so it's done. It's actually like this little cup from Citadel, which I thought I kind of rolled my eyes because Citadel often does a bunch of plastic shit that's way too expensive. Actually, this thing's pretty great. It's like legitimately good. So it's just a cup. But what it has two things. One, it's got this, which is pretty nice. But what it does have is these ridges. If you when you dip your brush in, if you pull it out and rotate, it makes a perfect point. So that's better than using your mouth, honestly. So it's actually pretty good. It's almost like they've made something to try to stop people from eating their paints. Don't lick the paints, don't develop that habit. I would still advise not spending $20 or 26 bucks, or with shipping like $30 on a single Winston Series 7. This is a pretty good alternative. These brushes look nasty because I'm a real painter, so I don't keep my shit clean, but also because I left them on the toaster oven, so it melted all the paint on them. Like literally the first day I got them, like my brand new brushes, I left them on the toaster oven and then made toast, and then it got hot and melted the handles. That's why it's all like bubbled up. Anyway, these are Artist Opus. They're like half the price of like a Winston 7. So they're like a good in between. They are Kinski hair. Yeah, these were good. I've been using them. Honestly, I would say like the 1 and the 0 were great. The 2 has been frizzled, but honestly, I think it's just because I was sloppy with them because I wasn't treating them as well as like my Winston 7. I do like these. So the paint on the handles did not hold up on a toaster oven.